Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something specific but super important for professionals. We're talking about the world of permanent makeup pigments.
Yeah, it's a field where, what you see initially isn't the whole story. The material itself, what's in the pigment, plays such a huge role in the final outcome.
Exactly. And we've got some material here that argues pretty strongly that artists need to know precisely what's in that little bottle and how it's going to behave. It's not just about picking medium brown.
Right. The idea is moving beyond just the color name on the chart to really understanding the science behind it for predictable results.
So our mission today is basically to unpack that argument. Why does this deeper knowledge matter so much? And we'll also look at a specific brand and a resource mentioned in our source material that tries to, tackle this exact issue.
It aims to help artists work more consciously.
So if you've ever wondered, why the same color looks maybe a bit different on client A versus client B, or why understanding the chemistry is actually key to getting those consistent, reliable results you want, then yeah, this deep dive is definitely for you.
Let's get into it. The core problem that this material highlights is pretty clear. For PMU artists, just going by the pigment name or some basic description, it's often not enough. Not for really consistent, confident work.
It feels like guesswork almost, doesn't it? So what specific things does the material say an artist really needs to ask about a pigment? What are those crucial questions?
Well, there are several, like which Fitzpatrick skin types is this specific pigment actually best for? That's fundamental.
Okay.
And how does it behave with different techniques? Shading versus hair strokes or different needle depths. Does it work well for both?
Right, practical application stuff. But the material seems really focused on the pigment itself, the composition.
Oh, absolutely. That's the heart of it. You need to know what the formula is. Is it organic? Is it inorganic? Or like a mix, a hybrid?
And does that really change things that much?
Hugely, according to this. And also, what's its viscosity? How thick or thin is it? And how does that specific formula tend to perform on different skin types? Oily skin, dry skin, maybe more delicate, older skin.
I see.
Knowing those details, that's what the material argues separates, just applying color from truly mastering the results, because you understand how the material interacts with the actual skin, the living canvas.
That makes perfect sense. Moving from just color to material science almost. Okay, so the material brings up a brand, BROVI as one example, trying to help artists with this.
Yes, BROVI is presented as a brand really focused on this technical aspect and being transparent about what's in their pigments, helping artists make more informed choices.
And they make a pretty bold claim, right? Something about retention.
Yeah, that definitely jumped out.
Yeah.
The material mentions an 80 to 90% pigment retention rate after just the first session for BROVI Pigments.
Wow, that's high.
It is. And they attribute that in the text to a carefully balanced formula.
Okay, so let's dig into that formula. What makes it carefully balanced according to this material?
Well, first off, they mention having their own in-house lab, which suggests, tight quality control.
Right.
And a key point highlighted is that they've specifically eliminated certain preservatives. DMDM hydantoin is the one name.
Okay, taking out something potentially iffy, what's the replacement?
They use safe, cosmetic-grade glycerin instead. It acts as a natural thickener.
A thickener. How does that help, practically speaking?
Well, the material makes a direct link. They say this specific consistency, thanks to the glycerin, makes it perfect for hair stroke techniques.
Oh.
Yeah, think about trying to get those really crisp, fine lines. You need a pigment that holds its shape, doesn't bleed or blur easily. This formulation is supposed to help achieve that. So the lines stay thin and sharp and don't fade out quickly.
Okay, that's a really clear connection between the ingredient and the artistic result. That's exactly the kind of insight we're looking for. What else did they deliberately leave out?
Another specific exclusion mentioned is chromium oxide.
Why that one?
The material connects it to unwanted green shifts in color over time, which is obviously a nightmare for artists and clients. And apparently, that green can sometimes persist even after laser removal attempts. So omitting it is framed as a choice for better long-term color stability, avoiding that potential pitfall.
Got it. Okay, so that's the what's in it and what's not. How about the actual colors? How is the BROVI system set up?
It's based on 8 core colors. But the key thing described is that they're designed to be really mixable.
Flexible.
Exactly. Artists can tweak shades using correctors or make them sheer using dilutions, so you can really customize the color and intensity for each individual client.
And the nature of these pigments, organic, inorganic?
They're described as hybrids, so a combination of organic and mineral ingredients.
And what's the supposed benefit of that hybrid approach?
The material credits the high-quality organic colorants in the mix for giving these vivid, rich tones that look natural in the skin. And importantly, this hybrid structure is claimed to prevent the color from fading into weird, unwanted hues down the line, like muddy or grayish tones.
Okay, the source also singled out their lip pigments, right? What's special there?
Yeah, it mentions the lip line is formulated specifically for, lip tissue. They apparently use minimal titanium dioxide.
Why minimal?
Just enough for brightness, the material says, but not so much that it makes the color look too opaque or unnatural or risks migrating. And importantly, it claims they don't dry out the lips.
That's a big plus for lips.
Definitely. And again, the focus is on avoiding color distortion over time. So the promise is softer healing and really stable, long-lasting color.
Does it mention the range of shades?
It does. It says the palette covers warm, cool, and neutral undertones. And it gives a couple of examples like dusty rose and juicy watermelon, which suggests, a decent range from subtle to more vibrant looks.
And there was something about a specific series for hair strokes, too.
Right. Besides the general formulation being good for hair strokes, they apparently have a dedicated series just for that technique. 3 warm-toned shades, specifically for brows, done with hair strokes.
Do you know the names?
Yes. The material mentions ripe wheat, bitter chocolate, and roasted chestnut. Sounds quite descriptive.
Yeah.
And the interesting claim about this particular series is that these specific tones are formulated so they supposedly don't need extra correctors added in.
Simplifying things.
Exactly. For artists specializing in hair strokes, that could streamline the process quite a bit. Consistent results without extra mixing steps.
Okay, so you've got the pigments, the science behind them, specific lines. But how does an artist actually learn all this?
Wow.
Especially the nuances of one specific brand like BROVI. The material mentioned a free resource.
Yes, and this seems pretty central to their whole approach. There's a BROVI online course, and the material emphasizes it's 100% free and accessible online.
Free is good. How comprehensive is it?
It sounds pretty thorough. It mentions 28 lessons.
28? Wow.
Yeah, with video tutorials and downloadable PDFs too. It's not just a quick product overview.
So what kind of topics does it get into across those 28 lessons?
According to the source, quite a range. Practical stuff like how to use the pigments for brows, eyeliner, and lips, showing real swatches, color charts, mixing advice, specifics on using their correctors and diluters properly.
Okay.
And crucially, it teaches artists how to actually read the BROVI labels correctly, which ties right back to that initial point about needing to know what's really in the bottle.
Right, decoding the information they provide. Does it go deeper into the science we talked about, the why behind it all?
Absolutely. The material states the course includes a proper deep dive into the science of pigment behavior. So it explores those critical interactions, the pigment chemistry, the client's skin structure, how your technique impacts it all. Understanding those connections is what leads to predicting the healed result.
And who teaches it?
You apparently learn directly from the founder, Anna Kutsevlova. And the material makes a point of saying the knowledge is designed to be practical, something you can apply pretty much immediately in your work.
That sounds like a valuable tool then, especially being free. It really reinforces that whole idea that understanding the materials deeply empowers the artist.
It connects the dots between their claims of predictable results and providing the education to actually achieve them. It's not just trust us, it's here's how and why it works.
So let's sort of zoom out. The big takeaway from digging into this material seems crystal clear. When it comes to permanent makeup, the final result, how it heals and lasts, it's not just about the color you picked out initially.
Not at all. It's deeply fundamentally tied to the pigment's specific chemical makeup. Is it organic, inorganic, a hybrid? What exactly is in there or not in there? What's its viscosity? And then how does all of that interact with the specific client's skin and the way the artist applies it?
It's a complex interplay.
Definitely. And resources like that free BROVI course we discussed are presented as a way for artists to get that essential deeper knowledge, to move beyond just applying color by habit and towards really mastering the science behind it for consistently beautiful, predictable, and long-lasting outcomes.
Making informed choices, like you said earlier.
Exactly. Every single time.
Okay, so here's something to chew on as we wrap up this deep dive. We've just spent time unpacking how, in PMU, the hidden details, the chemistry, the formulation, directly control the visible long-term result on skin. So how might this change the way you think about other things we put on or in our bodies? Think about, say, everyday cosmetics. Or even things like supplements or medications. What other invisible formulation details might be quietly but powerfully shaping the results we see or the effects we experience? What other hidden science is driving the outcomes we observe? Something to think about.